Hey, good morning, everybody. Wonderful to see everybody. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. You know, sometimes 6 a.m. is just way too damn early. So I apologize. All right. So I had this weekend while preparing, um, I found a way for us to catch up. And it's kind of so we're going to be doing a combination of two classes, two and a half classes today. That's my goal. Okay. So we're going to blow through a lot of information really quickly. And the reason is I feel like we've some of the things we're going to be saying are repetitions of the same message you've been hearing for, I don't know, 5 years now. Okay. So you know what I mean when I say everything is a projection from your past karma. Okay. You've already taken the courses on the death and the realms of existence. And in fact, many of you are taking the teacher training on that right now. So you understand, at least conceptually, what it means to take a different rebirth, right? Which isn't going to a different realm. It's not like there's, heaven and hell in the sense of like Deva realm, human realm, hell realm, and all these places in between. It's not like a place that you get transported to on a subway, right? Or you get on a rocket ship. Um, it's it's a shift of perception. It's a shift of, oh, now I see chew toy, so I is a dog. Translators, I don't know how you can do that one. You got to change the tense of the verb. It doesn't match the subject. Like you is a dog because your perception shifted. You are running through hot burning fire because you is a hell realm being. That's where it is. It's right here. It's not anywhere else. It's a shift of perception. So when we're talking about that, when we're talking about those things, it's what those mean. And if you don't know what they mean, go back to those courses. This is meant to be, we're moving through the information again. Um, of course, Tim will probably talk way too long and we won't finish, and that'll be fine. But that's how things go. All right. So we actually didn't finish the last class. And so where we were is we're in the middle of a lojang with Geshe Chikawa. And we were talking to him. I guess we were talking to him. We were just talking about his, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. No, we were talking about his death, where he was having this. Is there a problem with my video, or is it just some weird colors? Is there okay when you say yes? I need a I you can't say yes when I give you an either or option, Jenny. Is the video breaking up, or is it just because there's a purple color light in the background?
Now good.
Oh,
Before sometimes a little bit, but now good.
okay, well, I can't change the quality of the internet here. So if it gets bad, let me know and I'll switch to my phone. Um, so the color is purposeful. Okay, that's not the problem. Um, so he's on his deathbed, right? And he's trying to go to the hell realms because he wants to help other people, right? He wants to help all beings. He's like, look, I need to go to the hell realms. I need to keep serving them. But all I can see is the purple rainbow light of heaven. Okay. And he has to decide, he's being forced by his own karma to be drugged there, right? His perceptions are shifting that no matter how much he wants to change it and he wants to go somewhere else, he's forced by his past karma to experience it. You see. So that's what that's where we left it. You're forced by your past karma to see the world that you see. And whether you have a good Zoom video or a bad Zoom video is not my fault. It's your fault. Whether you like the purple in the background or not, that's your fault. If you like it, it's my fault. Okay, good. I got a couple smiles there. Okay, get it? Like your experience of the world is flowing from your karma. I don't know if you all see the same thing, Vivi. I might have a debate with you on that one. Um, but it's a shift of perceptions. Well, how about this? Oops. All right, I'm gonna change the color. How about green? You like green? There's a darker blue. So I can push buttons. Look, I could even set it so it rotates as well, but I want purple. Where did the purple go? There it is. Okay. It's fun. Okay. Have fun. Someone taught me that once yesterday. Have more fun, Tim. So, and the fact that I'm able to have more fun now is coming from a karma. It's not coming from because someone told me to have more fun. Get it? See, so anyhow, he's being forced to go to heaven. That's a really awesome karma. I want that karma. But to get that karma, you have to be willing to serve all beings. And maybe the pure wish to serve them could be enough to create your paradise. And that's what we talk about as the mystic power of bodhicitta. The pure wish to do it. The pure motivation. When you check in with your motivation to do something, whether you're helping somebody or you're serving your teacher or et cetera, why are you serving? Because you think you're supposed to serve? Because if your motivation is off, it's not going to work. If your motivation is off, it's just not, oh, Tim, but didn't you tell us previously that, you know, if you're not an Arya, that your motivation is always broken? I said yes. And that's okay, but you have to battle it. You have to battle your motivation. Like, who are you doing it for? And that's the point of Lojong. Like, to constantly be battling, like shifting it to the other side. Okay, so this is what he has to say. How about I'm going to have someone read. Come on, why aren't you showing up on my list? There we go. Okay. Tracy, can you read this next line for us, please?
Thank you. Um, all Dharma comes down to a single point. There are two judges. Keep the main one. Be joy alone in an unbroken stream, It's there when you can keep it unthinking.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, right? Thank you. Now, we're going to explain it now. Thank you for reading. Okay, so what does this mean? First thing, everything we do comes down to one thing, according to Geshe Chikawa. One thing. And what is that single point? Is to work against our tendency to cherish ourselves. Dak Chenzen. We're working against our innate, if you are who you look like you are, and I don't know who you are, you know, you could be a whole bunch of little arias being like, Tim, you don't get it yet. So now we're making you teach Lojong because you didn't get it when you taught logic. Okay. If you are who you look like you are, though, and maybe is we have this built-in tendency to cherish ourselves. Only look at ourselves. Only look out for number one. And so the second thing here, the two judges. There's two types of judges, you and others. Okay. Now, the only person who can judge your practice and how well it's going is yourself. Okay. Which conversely means you shall not judge other people's practices because you do not know what's going on in their mind. Okay. Oh, Tim, but what if it looks like they're breaking vows? What if it looks like they're doing things that hurt themselves? Then you have to wonder why you have to see that. It has nothing to do with their practice. It has to do with yours. Now, how you handle someone who might be hurting somebody else or planting some bad seeds, that's up for a debate. But I would offer that if those people are, the fact that you're seeing it that way is coming from you, how would you take care of your own projections? How would you take care of the negativities you see in other people? Because they're coming from you. And how would you care for them? How would you care for them? Could you care for them like the story we've told about caring for your mother who's, you know, comes at you with a knife because she thinks you're a robber, but it's because she took the wrong medication, right? How would you take care of her? So keep that main judge, you're the only one who can judge your practice. And conversely, don't judge others. Come on. And then to judge what is Dharma, does it help your mental afflictions or not? Does it fix you? Like the definition of Dharma is something that protects you and fixes you. Okay. And if your Dharma is successful, your mental afflictions will be going this way, down. Maybe it's more like this. Maybe the line is more, it's more like a slow descent, and not more like a crash, right? It's just more like it barely goes down, but year by year, you should be getting better. Okay. That's a sign of a good practice. The idea of being joy alone, if you get something, don't worry about keeping it. Excuse me. If you get some money, don't obsess about keeping it because that's going to worry you, right? That you lose your joy. But if you don't get money, don't make yourself unhappy looking for money. And so really the idea is that, and this is really, really hard. And this is why we don't teach this at level one. And it's very hard when we're having difficult times. Like, and especially if we're living in places that are very challenging, especially if there's war around us, right? You know, when something like that happens, we need to look carefully into why it came to us. But just like Geshe Chikawa says, don't be unhappy. Well, what if bombs are falling around me all the time? It, I'm, I mean, I can say the thing, but I don't have it happening to me. So I don't, I can't pretend to say how I would react. I would hope that I could, react this way. That would be the goal. But, you know, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be happy. I mean, I don't know if I'd be unhappy if something like that happened around me. You know, I'm not sure I'd be able to hold the view. And part of the practice is recognizing when you shift in and out. When you have a bad day, whether you're having an internal battle with your own health, for example, or you're having external battles and wars and things, like, how do you react to that? And these are guidelines on how to bring our mind back. But I know how I react when I get really sick. Be joy alone. Yeah, right. Right. You know, but you keep trying. And the point is to try. And the trying is the seed planting. Okay. And then finally, your lojong practice, it's there when you keep it unthinking, meaning when it's just an automatic thing, when you're just automatically doing it, when the things that are happening around you and you just automatically engage your lojong. Okay. You're like, oh, I'm thinking incorrectly, or I'm self-cherishing. And then you just flip immediately, right? Like riding a horse. When you first get on a horse, it's not automatic. Or driving a car. It's probably better. I don't know what's like riding a horse. Like when you first learn to drive a car, it's like, what the, you don't know how to move the steering wheel. You don't know how the car, and how it fits in this parking spot and what the space is around you. But after you've done it for a while, it's automatic. You're just like, do, turn up the music, like, turn it up loud, sing along, like kind of look around, like look at the trees, look at the cars, right? You know, you're not, you're just automatically driving, you see. And then when you lose focus, but then sometimes you lose focus and then you get an accident, right? And that's sort of what happens in lojong. You forget, but that's okay. Um, Last night if I had been driving like I normally drive, and for some reason I had an insight not to, I just was just relaxing, I would have probably been in a terrible accident. I missed it by about 2 minutes, you know, and everyone looked like they were okay, but all the cars were destroyed, you know. So again, like being mindful, like know where your mind is, right? It was dark. I had just had dinner and I was like, yeah, I need to be more careful. Like there was a part of me that said be more careful, and I'm glad that I did. Right. And that's part of lojong, is check in with your mind. How careful do you need to be today? Which is all the time. But sometimes it's easier to be in lojong than others. And you have to be able to tell like how close you are to, wild mental afflictions. All right. Next line. How about Heidi? You're next on the pictures.
Figure out both and free yourself.
Ah, that was super short. Nice. Okay. What does this mean? This is self-study. This is when you get your notebook. And I can see some of you who have notebooks taking notes, and I can see some of you who aren't. I was telling a student the other day they need to take more notes, and they were fighting with me. I was like, okay, come back to class. Take notes. Like, I'm going to say something right now, and you should be writing it down. Meaning, figure out both and free yourself. First, figure out which mental afflictions you have. How did you get your mental afflictions? I don't know. Maybe you planted some bad seeds. What bad seeds did you plant today, yesterday, or last week, or when you were a kid? Okay. Figure out, you don't have to, the thing is, look, you don't have to go into years of therapy to figure out what you did. Okay. I'm not disregarding the value of therapy. That's not what I'm saying. Figure out what kinds of seeds set off your mental afflictions. What kinds of people? What kinds of objects? What kinds of things set you off? Does anyone have a person in their life where like they literally just open their mouth and you're like, or they walk into a room or they breathe and you're just like, oh my God, I fucking hate you. And you're like all upset about them. Okay, Maria has more than one. Very nice. you know, look for try to understand who are those people? What are the circumstances? What are the objects? What are the people? Why do some people actually good? So another Maria used to have them, but they disappeared. Good. That means your Lojong's going well. But I warn you, the chi for that may still be there. Like I remember one time when a particularly difficult person left our organizations. This was years and years and years ago. And I was like, oh, okay. There was a little bit of pride. I'm like, oh, I made them disappear, right? I changed the karma because they irritated the hell out of me. They upset me. I just see them as a big teacher of what not to do. Like they just gave me a big list of things. Don't ever do that, Tim. They left and there was like a relaxation. Oh, I don't have to deal with this shit anymore. Right. Geshe Michael turned to me and he said, and I'm changing the name so you don't know who it was. Okay. He said, just because Billy left doesn't mean that Billiness is gone. I'll say it again. Just because Billy, the person, left doesn't mean the quality of Billiness is has left. Okay. So you still need to keep going, right? That's what I mean, Maria. Like it's excellent they disappeared. Good, excellent. But keep doing it. Like don't stop. You will think that your mental afflictions are gone, and then someone will test you. I promise you. This is how it goes. Okay. So first, do study, figure out what major mental afflictions you have, what types of people engage them, And third, like what objects, like what kinds of things irritate you, like traffic or the weather or money, whatever it is, right? What are the kind of things that get you all excited, negatively excited? Okay. All right. So that's the first part. Figure out both. What's the second thing we need to figure out? How to avoid them in the future. Okay, it's not just enough to figure out the things that irritate you and what caused them, but then to figure out how to avoid it in the future. Right? Yeah, but you can expect the mental affliction to leave. Okay, see, that's the thing. Like, we're not talking about people leaving, we're talking about the seed that creates those qualities that you see. Right? So you have to change the seeds you're planting. That's all. Right? You just have to change the seeds that are being planted. Okay. So those are the two things. Figure out both and free yourself. Yay. Okay. Let's see here. Who should read this one? Who do we think needs the karma for this? I know, do you guys get the joke? Probably not. Phoebe, could you read this one?
Vivi?
Yes.
Okay. Stop thinking about how wonderful you are. Thank you.
Okay. What does this mean? First of all, like, it's always like a good idea not to like be so to think how awesome you are, right? Like, there's a bad way of thinking you're awesome, and then there's a good way of thinking you're awesome. Okay. And so there's a kind of a trick here. So normally we will say, hey, when you're coffee meditating, think about how good it is, how good it is that you're using a different system, that you use seeds to solve the problem versus yelling at someone or trying to manipulate them or trying to force the situation to change. Okay. And so there's a positive pride there, right? And you should have that pride. And what Geshe Chikawa says is, don't think you're so great just because you're serving other people. All right. I'm awesome because I serve others. I'm the best Dharma practitioner. I'm the best student. I like that one. I'm better than all the other students. Okay. Why? One is, look, people need help anyway. It doesn't like you're not doing something special. Maybe you're choosing to help them, but people need the help anyway. They desperately need your help. Okay. And secondly, you already took bodhisattva vows. Like, get it? You already said you're going to do it. So don't spend time thinking about how wonderful you are. Just go and do it. Spending time thinking about how wonderful you are in that way is self-cherishing. And there's a subtlety there that you have to really look at yourself when you're doing things. Are you, the pride that you have, is it a good pride or is it a negative pride? Right? And so you have to meditate on that. Where is your self-cherishing falling? And then find it. Like, go in there, dig into it. Keep serving. Keep rejoicing in your good seeds. Keep rejoicing that you helped other people. And I didn't say stop doing that. I said, look at what level of it might be self-cherishing. Tim, I just had a really bad day and I need to feel better about the good things I did. Yes, please go ahead and do that. Okay. But then I would wonder why you feel bad about the things you did. Like, yeah, so why is that seed ripening? And sometimes we just need to relax, just stop the analysis, right? Sometimes it's too much. Don't expect any thanks. I'm going to read that one. Okay. Don't do your low junk practice expecting anybody to help you, anyone to say thank you, or to be famous or have a good reputation. Just do it. All of that comes from the practice anyway. You don't have to try. You will get the gratitude, but don't expect gratitude. Right. And then even the person you're helping, don't expect them to be happy either. Okay. Just do it. Don't, how do I say this? This is my favorite thing. Why? Because you want to be recognized. And then it's even better, like when you do all these great things, and then the Lama thanks everybody else except you. And you were expecting the praise. You were expecting to hear good things, right? I did all that good work. Look at how well that turned out. And then they don't even say your name. They don't even look at you. Why? Okay. Part of it, yes, is coming from you, but if you have a teacher, they're teaching you something. Like if you're not getting the thanks you want, maybe there's some kind of pride in it. Maybe you were so excited about how well you did that you wanted the trophy. You wanted the whole audience to applaud for you. Right? Good job, everybody. I can't believe what a great job they did. I'm not saying names right now. Get it? Maybe someone was expecting me to say, what a great job you're doing. That's amazing. I can't believe that turned out so well. Look at all the effort you put into that, right? You want to get praised? You want to be thanked? Go plant that stupid little seed. Okay. And then you'll be thanked. Okay. But maybe you do thank a lot of people and you still don't get thanked. Well, that's probably because there's some pride. Okay. So just go and serve people. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You'll be like Geshe Chikawa, right? You'll be trying to get out and go to the hell realms and you'll be pulled into a paradise. And then everyone will be welcoming you. Finally, Marina, you got there. Yay. And everyone applauds. Like, look, everyone applaud for Marina right now because she does such a great job. Look, right? She does a wonderful work. She's built a full team of tech hosts and trained them. And then we have hundreds of classes going on all the time. Okay. It's amazing, right? But don't expect us to thank you, Marina, even though we just did. Okay. And if you do expect thanks, maybe just keep going, right? Just, joyful. Like joy doesn't come from the thanks anyway. You could be thanked and be embarrassed. How many people have been thanked for something and then felt shy about it? See? So it has nothing to do with how you feel. There's no connection between the thanks and how you feel about it. Get it? Maybe. All right. Thank you, Geshe Chikawa, for such a beautiful lojang. And now we're going to move on to our next one. Here we go. All right, our next one. This one, this is actually the first one I taught. I taught this in Thailand 8 years ago. Right? And this is by the Sanchen Kungan Ningpo. All right. And it's called The Freedom from the Four Attachments. Drel means freedom, Shi means four, Senpa means attachments. So for those of you in the Lam Rim class, there's a nice little connection here between the Sanchen Kunga Ningpo and Paboka Rinpoche. And in that Lam Rim, we're in the middle of a section where we're talking about Jason Kappa's visions of Manjushri and the different types of visions that are possible and things like that. And the Sanchen Kunga Ningpo had visions of Manjushri as well. And that's where he got this lojang from during one of those visions. So that's kind of cool. If anyone finds it cool that all of these stories are linked together, maybe not. And so the explanation that we have is from, his name is Jetson Drachma Geltson. And I didn't make a slide for it, so I'm sorry. His dates are 1147 to 1216. I'm going to put it in the chat for you so you can write that down. And his lineage actually brought Buddhism to the Mongolians, to Mongolia. So a lot of the work that we're doing in Mongolia at the National Library of Mongolia, and also Erdensu and other monasteries there, where we're finding those texts, we're cataloging them, and then scanning and inputting them, came through this lineage, through Sanchen Kunga Ningpo, and through that lineage of teachings that went to Mongolia. It's a great project that the Asian Legacy Library is doing, and it's a wonderful partnership they have with the BDRC, which is the Buddhist Digital Resource Center. They do a lot of scanning. We do a lot of the inputting, and we have worked together on that project for years. So the freedom from the four attachments. What are those four attachments? I'm going to read them to you right now, and then we're going to go through them. It's just 4 simple lines. I didn't make a slide for it, but guess what? We will. Let me just close a few of these things here. Okay. Let's have someone read them. Let me get the right thing up. Yes, I did not. Okay, here we go. How about Anastasia Panaitova? Would you like to read these?
Yes, English, yes.
Yes, starting here with well, you can read the Tibetan if you want, but let's read the English.
A person who is still attached to this life is not Dharma practitioner. A person who is still attached to the three worlds has no renunciation. A person who is still attached to getting what they want is no bodhisattva. A person who still grasps to think has no worldview.
Nice. Are you able to read the script as well?
Yes.
Cool. How about you read us the Tibetan too?
Okay. Yes, I read. Це діла Шена Чопамін Камсум Ла Шена Нечунмін Дактон Ла Шена Chansemmин, Dinpa Junna, Taba-min. Thank
Nice.
you.
Wow. That's amazing. Amazing. So just a little, I know I put you on the spot and all of those things. Just one thing here, when we're reading poetry, is that it has a meter to it, right? So in this case, so this line would be Dakdun La Shen Na Jung Sem Min. Na da da da. Wait, that's not right. Jaksem non la da da. Huh. As Tim is correcting your meter here, the meter of this line is off. That's amazing. Let's hear. Da, 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 da. The meter of these lines are not correct. Normal. They're not normal. That's fascinating. Thank you, Anastasia, for showing me something here. The meter of these lines are not normal. The first one's odd. Dun, 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 dun. No. There are even numbers of syllables in these lines. Normally, it's an odd number. I'm going to have to investigate this one. So, and that was really amazing. Are you studying with Word, or do you have some other? Yeah, that's okay. You probably have some cool Bachak Sepas, to be able to do all of that. That's really cool. You're going to have to teach that to other people. Just saying. Okay, here we go. So there's four lines here. A person who is still attached to this life is no Dharma practitioner. All right, what does this mean? What does it mean here? What does it mean to say attached to this life, but is no Dharma practitioner? Okay. So there's a couple things here. So I found this fun picture. Okay. This is a super spiritual guy in Sedona. All right. Super spiritual, puts the third eye on their forehead incorrectly. Okay. I don't know. Maybe there's a world where the third eye goes like that. I don't know. Okay. But the general idea is that being attached to one's ethical life. Okay, we're talking about our ethical life first, but we're also talking about contemplation, learning, and meditation. Okay. But if you are looking at your ethics as a way of like what feels good or what someone taught you in school, right? What your culture has taught you, like this is a really powerful thing, right? Our cultures teach us about what are good things and bad things. What's legal and what's not legal. We're taught about what is the correct way of being. But if we're not examining it, how do we know that it is correct? Right? And we see this all the time, and you probably see it in yourself. I see it myself. Like what I think is correct or a good seed, is it just a cultural thing that actually, upon analysis, is not a good thing? So we have to understand the deeper aspects of karma and emptiness, the deeper aspects of cause and effect, to really evaluate, am I attached to something in a wrong way? That's one of the reasons. That's one of the ideas of being attached to this life and being no Dharma practitioner. Looking at your culture, looking at the laws of your country, looking at what your parents told you. Like, are they actually creating good results or not? And then it's like, well, what happens if I'm in a place where that's where the normal, that's where it's normal to behave that way? I had someone tell me once they were upset at someone and they started yelling at them. And the answer, and they said to me, I was like, look, you can't do that. That's not how we behave. And then they said to me, I was shocked. Like this was a advanced practitioner. Okay. Me judging advanced practitioners. And they said to me, oh, that's just because I'm from New York. This is how we talk to people in New York. And strangely, I had just studied Lojong right at that time. And I was like, I said, just because you're from New York and everyone behaves that way doesn't mean that it's a good seed. Like New York used to be a vibrant, bustling, it was the city where everyone was supposed to go. You know, I mean, no offense to, I mean, there's lots of cool things in New York, but no offense, but it's kind of a dirty city now. It's kind of unpleasant to be there. At least that's my seeds. And I was like, well, that like just because everybody does it doesn't mean it's a good seed. Right. So you have to evaluate all the things you do. You have to evaluate what's a t-shirt? What did I say? I want to know and see I'm attached. Thanks, Tracy. But yeah, we need to evaluate what's happening around us to see, is that are we just behaving that way because we were told to behave that way? And it's just natural to be that way. So that's one kind of attachment. See, there's another kind of attachment. Let me have a look here. Hold on. I wrote it in my notes. Okay. Right. And the other kind of attachment he's talking about here specifically is to life itself, to your practice. Like in the sense of like, if you're doing your meditation practice to look good, I'm such a super spiritual meditator. Oh, I'm such a great retreater. I did a month retreat. Look at my beard, everybody. It grew out, right? Look at that. Look at my hair's long now, right? Look at what a great practitioner I am. Okay, yes, sometimes you're in retreat and you don't cut your hair and you don't shave your body because it's a waste of time. Okay. That's okay. Okay. But if you're coming out and you have retreat beard or retreat hair and you're like, look at how such a great look, you're proud about it, that's you being attached to this life. Okay. There's a difference. And he also said our commentator Jetsun, I forget his name right now, Jetsun Drakpa Gelson, he says life is like a bubble. You know, it can go out in any moment. Like I said earlier, like that car, you know, I was 2 minutes away from a big accident, maybe less. Right. So don't be attached to it. You know, you could get sick at any moment. It could be over, you know. But if you're not attached to it, you won't go to the lower realms. We've already talked about this. And the antidote to this is really to meditate on death. Hour by hour. And the result of that meditation is that your Dharma practice actually becomes Dharma. And that's a thing for us to think about. All right, second one, 3 planets. A person who is attached to the 3 worlds has no renunciation. And these do overlap with each other. And it means really the 3 realms, right? We have the Deva realm, we have the desire realm, and we have the hell realms. Okay. Yeah, so by the way, I'm jumping around between class 6 and 7. I merged them all into one. Okay. So you're just gonna have to think about your homework. I'm sorry that I don't go through the homework one by one. Different teachers do, but that's not my style. Okay, so what is Jetson Drachma Gelson saying here? And he's talking about the 3 realms, right? He's talking about the 3 worlds, the Deva realm, the desire realm, and the hell realm. And then he talks about what is the pain of pain, like the different types of suffering we have. Right. And then so thinking about the lower realms, thinking about the animal realm or this, like the hungry ghost realm or the hell being realms, right? Where are they? And we actually said this in the beginning of class. How does one get there? Excuse me. And we said that really this is where is the hell realm? Where is the animal realm? It's right here. It's where your mind is. Right? You're perceiving the world as one of those beings. You become a being in that realm through a shift of your perceptions. Right? You are a dog because you see it as a chew toy. Right? You're a dog because you see it as a chew toy. Period. Right? You're a human because you see it as pen. That's what makes you a dog, is what you perceive. What makes you a hell realm being is because this hotel room is burning fire. Not because it's a nice hotel room. I'm a human because I see it as a nice hotel room. You see, like it's a shift, it's just a shift of perceptions. And so the Sakya Pandita says, attachment to the 3 realms is like eating a poison. You enjoy it in the short term, but in the long run, it hurts you. Right? It's like smoking cigarettes. People enjoy it. Right? But it's just causing pain in your body. It's causing cancer in your body. And I can say this because I did it, right? I don't know why. It doesn't taste good, but there's something like you do it anyway, right? So if you were to actually think about what a cigarette does to your body, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't put things into your body if you actually knew what they were doing to you. Certain things, right? So the antidote to this problem is just to think about what it does. Like what is attachment to this realm mean? Like even being attached to the human realm. What does that mean? And then if you're moving into like the more like deva realms, like that's even worse because you don't even know they're suffering. At least as a human, you're reminded of your suffering like every day. Your body hurts, right? You get upset at something, you're tired, you're hungry, you get upset, you get sick. Your body will remind you eventually in this realm. The Deva realm doesn't have many reminders. Right? So what happens is your practice becomes a path. Right? Everything that by thinking about the difficulties are the path. All right. Why did where does that come from, Tim? Oh, I see. Okay. Oops, there's a misspelling there. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So speaking of the shifting of perceptions, the Buddha said something like this. So let's have someone read. You're translating. Sandra, could you read?
Yes, the whole world is a projection that comes only from your projections.
Perfect. The Buddha said that in the sutra requested by Upali. Okay. And it's really, where did that, hold on a second here. I'm sorry. Okay. Can you guys still see it? No. Okay, where did it go? Come on, Tim. Let's move you over here. Okay, there we go. We're gonna put this back up. There we go. Right, and it's just another way of saying the same thing. They're only a result of our projections, meaning the result of how we treated people in the past. It's not like these realms were built, right? It's not like some construction company was like, I'm going to go build a hell realm over there. I mean, we're in Phoenix. I don't know. It's pretty damn close to a hell realm down here. It is hot. It is uncomfortable. It's all of those things, right? Like, I don't know why people live here. I mean, I lived here for a while, but it's pretty nasty. Okay. But it's not like someone's like, let's go build a hell realm over there and let's go build a Deva realm over here. Or let's go build heaven up here and like, down below. It's not like that. Right? It's just a shift of your projections. Now, the thing is, when people think of projections, they think of fake, right? And fake kunzop in the sense of it is a projection, but it doesn't mean that the suffering in those realms is not any less real. Your feet will be burned when you're running through a hell realm. If the suffering in your life right now wasn't real, you would be totally happy all the time. Okay. If your body wasn't doing body things, right? Getting sick, getting grumpy, getting hungry, getting tired, all those things, then you would just be happy. And if you're not happy, it's proof that the suffering is real for you. So really the good things and the bad things are coming from that shift of perception. If you're having a good day and then it turns into a bad day, it's because the karma shifted. Because a bad day could turn into a good day. You see? And that's where becoming attached to the things in our life without understanding where they come from, that's why it becomes a problem. I had 3 good hours today. Yes. And then the rest of the day was terrible. Man, that sucks. you know, but why did it get terrible? Or why was it good? And understand that it's a shifting of your karma constantly. And we don't like it. Frankly, we don't like it. I don't like it. And then I get wrapped up in like, oh my God, I don't like this. I don't want this. I get upset. I get sad. And all of those things start happening. And then you forget why are you sad? Does it change the fact that I'm sad? No. I am sad. And then but the idea behind is you can shift that with different seeds that could ripen in the future. But right now you're sad. That's what you got. And that's what purification practices are all about. Taking the negative side of things and learning how to transform them, learning how to move them, learning how to shift them so you're not replanting them. That's the trick. Move so that in a way that you don't replant it. Oh, well, Tim, I can't stop myself from being sad right now. No, you can't. But if you have a little bit of wisdom showing up, being like, well, this must have come from a previous seed, that's stopping it. Not in the moment, but that's stopping the progression. And then you drag yourself to the nursing home and go. We go every Sunday at 2 p.m. in Sedona if you want to come. Right? Drag yourself there. Go take care of somebody else. Go do something for somebody else. Get out of your house. So really it's about recognizing the why in any given moment. What's happening? Why is it happening? And then there's something you can do about it. All right. All right. Why did I put this picture here? Sometimes I confused. Like it was such a great idea at the time. Oh, I know why. I have a picture for what I just said. Huh, that's what it was. Okay. Here it is. Right. We can lose the things that are dear to us, even ourselves. Like if you're not careful, that's what you might look like someday. Okay. That's kind of scary. And that's supposed to be a little scary. Like you thought you were looking one way, but that's how you actually look. That's what your anger turned you into. Okay. All right. We're going to move on from that because that one's intense. But you can look at that later and think about it. So Jacques Geltzen talks about the mystic power of this good deed. And what's cool about this is the same lamas are saying that the lamas are saying the same thing. The mystic power of this good deed. What is the mystic power? That the pain of all the three realms could ripen upon me right now by the mystic power of wishing earnestly and honestly that all the pain of the three realms ripen upon me now. this karma, the power of that karma shifts and helps overcome our tendency to cherish ourselves. And it becomes a very, very quick path to enlightenment by the mystic power of this good deed. Right. And then the picture from Geshe Chikawa, right? That's what he was doing. Honestly, may all the pain of the three realms ripen upon me, but I can't go to the hell realm. I'm being forced to see a paradise. You see, it's pretty cool. Like, and it's actually a really powerful practice that if you're having a crappy day, or you're having a difficult time, or you're in an area that's war torn, or you're very, very sick, or something like that, you can dedicate your experience to that all of the negative seeds of those realms are ripening upon you right now. Like, I'm taking the pain from other people by having to experience this pain. And this is why this was a secret practice, because you could see how easily this could turn into a wrong worldview. Right? Because then you could just be like, oh, everything's so painful, I'm just going to lay around and do nothing. Right? Or that somehow you enjoy your pain. Okay. But there's a balance. There's a place of balance in there, and you have to find that. But may this pain that I'm experiencing right now ripen up, be a seed that is taking that pain away from other people. May it ripen upon me now. May I burn it up right now. Because everything does change eventually. Okay. And taking that pain from others, the wish to take it from others, that I'm experiencing it so other people don't. That's the main, that becomes our main practice. If you do sakjang well, your meditation will skyrocket. Sakjang, the 7 ingredients. And when you move into more advanced practices, the prayer, you just become better at purifying. You become better at moving your prana in different ways, of moving the prana out of an afflictive state into a blissful state. And if it's in a afflictive state, how do you move it out of it? Right? Katrin, I'll answer your question if we have time at the end of the class. How do you move out of a state of affliction into a state of bliss? Right? How do you get the winds to move in a certain way in your body so that you don't experience afflictions? How do you burn up the dross of the 70 to 72,000 misconceptions? One by one, how do you do it? Okay. How do you do it? And that's what Lojong is teaching us how to do it. Preparing ourselves on how to do it and how to do it fast. Like, when something arises, can you move it quickly? You can't stop the arising, but do you have the power to shift it? And that comes from your bodhicitta, and that comes from practice, and that comes from habituation. You see how it's all kind of tied together, all the pieces start coming together. And then when you get into the advanced teachings, more pieces come together, and then you see how the whole system is it's designed for one thing: purify your negative seeds, plant good seeds. That's what we're talking about in the translation class. Everyone's like, what should I do? Go plant some good seeds. That's why you have vows. You know what to plant. Go purify the bad seeds and do it earnestly with strength and ferocity. Shukdrak. Okay. Sakshan Sukdrak. Do all those things. And it's not really, the funny thing is, the more that I'm teaching, the more I'm like, oh my God, I'm saying the same thing over and over again, just in different ways. Why do I have to see that, Tim? I don't know. All right. Third line. A person who is attached to getting what they want is no bodhisattva. All right. You know, this is a really tricky thing, right? How do you plant the seed for things that you want? How do you do the 4 steps and then not expect the result to come? Because if you want the result to come, then you're no bodhisattva. It's a deep question, right? Well, Tim, I want a better life. I want better health. I want more money. Yes, I know. I want good relationships. I know. Go to the nursing home. I did, but I didn't get the result yet. Well, then keep going. When is the result going to come? Don't worry about it. What if the result doesn't come? Well, it has to come eventually. That's the idea. If you do this, if everything you do, if cause and effect is true, the result has to come anyway. So why expect it to come? Because there's some kind of expectation. Some kind of expectation gets in the way. It gets in the way of the result coming. Why? How does the expectation get in the way of the result coming? The expectation that there will be a result. How about for $100? Most of you're kind of right. Kind of right. You're right. You don't know when the seeds are going to ripen. It links to your self-cherishing. It's obstacles to in the form of attachments. Yeah. Sandra's like, I need to be patient. Yes, all of those things are true. No, okay, cancel the bet. It's because you somehow are attributing the result in a self-existent way. You think that the result has some kind of self-existence. There's some kind of nature of its own from its own side. And if you expect the result to come, you're creating more of this versus this. Will the result have to come? Yes. Why? Because nothing's lost. Give myself $100. If I could give myself $100, I just did. Look what I found in my pocket. I forgot it was in my pocket because I won $100 at Mixed Nuts on last week, right? That's why I give it away. I want more of these, right? That'd be kind of cool, Tracy. If I could give it to myself and plant the seed, could I? That'd be interesting. Could you give something to yourself that would perpetuate the seed, then you wouldn't lose the seed? Was there a way of doing something that would increase the seeds instead of wasting them? I want you to think about that. But if you're attached to the result, you're no bodhisattva. And the Sakya Pandita says, attachment to what you want is like killing your enemy's child, which is really intense. It might feel good in the beginning. I don't know why they would say that. Like, but it's going to bring you harm at the end of the day. Right. And in the modern world, we don't kill our enemies' children, but we yell at them on the other side of the fence. You damn kids. Right. So, then you feel better about yourself. You yelled at someone else's kids who were misbehaving. Right. Makes you feel better. But the antidote for all of that, again, is the wish for enlightenment. And what this is really doing is removing the first greatest mistake of the path, which is a lower motivation, which is practicing just for yourself. Okay. The first mistake is just doing it for yourself. But in the Lam Rim, we've learned that doing it for yourself is part of the path. It's a lower scope, right? You're doing it for your own freedom. So there's a balance. You have to like these are super subtle, okay? It's not 100%. When you're working in the deceptive world, it's not 100% literal anyway, because it's already broken. So you have to find the way through the quagmire, the bad English word. Quagmire is like a find your way through a bunch of bushes with thorns. Okay. Like, how do you navigate it? Because every turn that you make, it's like it's like going through a forest made of rose bushes, right? There's beauty in them, but there's the thorns everywhere, right? And you're trying to get through it, but every time you turn one way, you're like poking yourself, right? You're poking up against your self-cherishing, you're poking up against the seeing things incorrectly, the self-existence, right? How do you do that if you haven't seen emptiness directly? With finesse. That's what I say. Just be elegant in the rose bushes. Okay. You're trying to get out, but you're stuck. You see, just find some elegance in there. It's not going to be a pretty thing. You're going to get bloody every once in a while. Okay. Just metaphorically bloody. So someone doesn't quote me and like put me in the news or something. All right. And so the last attachment, I like this picture, is you grasp to things that has no worldview, like a virtual reality, right? You grasp to things as self-existent, right? You think that's the world that's out there on its own by itself without your seeds, right? And it's like a mirage, right? Looking across a desert, you think that there's water on the other side, but you can't drink it. And that attaching yourself to self-existence as no worldview is what's keeping you from reaching enlightenment quickly. And so then you have to study the two extremes, right? That things don't exist in the way they appear, and that doesn't mean that they don't exist at all, right? And then you're able to transform yourself into an enlightened being at that point. Yay. Okay, last thing here. This of everything we've said today. They're all important. This is the most important. Everything's important, but this is the most important. So figure it out. And this is one of the keys to being able to transform things very quickly and also to move into diamond way practice very, very quickly. Okay. What does this mean? Why are you here today? Okay, I got up. My calendar invite went off. You know, I turned on the Zoom. I looked for the link, right? I got a reminder in Telegram from the great admins that are constantly managing this class. Thank you very much. Right? Is that how you got here today? Well, I mean, yes, that's what you did, but how did you get here? What brought you here? What brought you here? Everything brought you here. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The things that were challenges, the deepest challenges that you had in your life brought you here today. So are those deepest challenges good things or bad things? From their own side, they have no nature of being anything. But with a different perspective, those things that happen to us could be spiritually significant or not. And as you become more and more, as you begin to purify more and more in your life, you'll begin to see those things in a very, very different way. And we call it spiritual revisionism. Okay. See, the negative things have turned into flowers. You begin to see those things in your life maybe as having been spiritually significant. Were they difficult? Yes. Did they hurt? Yes. Would I wish that you didn't have to have had that? Yes. Was it necessary for you to have it from its own side? No. Did it happen? Yes. Was it a path for you? Yes. It was your unique path. And the more that you study, the more that you practice, the more that you shift yourself. Yes, that's the word, Tracy, spiritual revisionism. The more that prepares you for deeper practice. Can you look at the things that happen in your life that maybe they were secret messages? Maybe your sickness, the sickness you had when you were 17, that destroyed your life. A friend of mine just posted on Facebook, and I didn't know he had some kind of neck injury. I think he broke his neck, and he put a picture of his x-ray, and you can see the metal in his neck that they used to repair his spine, his cervical spine. Right. And the post was a mix of gratitude and sadness, because it basically was, he's happy to be alive, but his like, my life is ruined now. Right. The life that he knew is gone. And that's what life is. It's one series of things that change you. The life that you thought you had is not the life that you got. The challenges you faced, the sicknesses you had, the defeats, all of those things shaped you and pushed you in a certain way. Was it a good thing or a bad thing? It sucked at the time. I had back surgery when I was 17. Ruined my life. Right? Changed my life completely. You know, I had, here's the old way. The old way is, Tim, I'm sorry we're going over, but I'm not stopping right now. If you need to go, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm going over, and it's okay to leave if you have other things to do, but I want to finish this first. It was the, for me, it was a betrayal. Like, my body betrayed me. Right? I'm 17 years old. I shouldn't be like that. I'm just like getting stronger, right? All of a sudden I'm getting more competitive. I can compete with the other men in sports. I'm finally tall enough. I'm getting stronger, right? And all of a sudden I couldn't exercise anymore. I was in, it was years of recovery, right? And I'm still in pain pretty much constantly. But, was it a good thing or a bad thing? That's the question. Did it need to happen? I guess karmically, maybe. But what did it do? Right? What did it push me towards? What did it change? What did it open up? Right? I started asking different questions. I started asking questions of, well, maybe there's some other meaning here. Maybe there has to be something more to this. This is not fair for, a child to go through that. I never got to be normal. Listen, these are the tapes playing in my head, right? I'm sharing it with you so you can see that it doesn't have to be that way. Those tapes, those thoughts also brought me to search for deeper meaning. Right? Would I be sitting here today exactly then saying these things to you if I hadn't have had that back surgery when I was 17? And think about your life. Would you be sitting here right now without all of the good or the bad? Would you have made certain choices? Would you have planted certain seeds? Would you have been concerned about how you cared for other people? I know what it's like to be in such pain that I look at most people and I'm like, your irritation and your upset is because you're in pain. Your body's in pain. I know, I can see it. And it sucks because you don't want You don't want to fucking tell anyone else. You're tired of complaining about it. I'm tired of complaining about my pains. I just don't talk about it. Right? And that's what most people live their life, right? They don't talk about their pain. But you can see it, but it makes them grumpy as hell. And you'd be grumpy too if you were in level 7 pain all day long. Right? But if you look at it differently, like, did it create different seeds? Did it push you to be kinder and more gentle and more compassionate and maybe bring a little bit more wisdom? And maybe that's why you're sitting here today. And that's why this is a very, very deep practice that you have to be careful with when you teach people. Right? You can't tell people that on day one. Like, take your pain. Your pain was the reason you're here, and it was a good seed. Most people are going to be like this. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm just being really crass right now. But I'm being serious. You have to be ready to hear something like that. And it doesn't mean it wasn't painful, and it doesn't mean that I wish it never happened to people. But that's the work you're going to have to do, because you can transform even bad seeds. And that's the point. What was bad doesn't have to have been bad from its own side. All right. Thank you all very much. Have a nice day. Mic drop. But seriously, think about it. Really, really think about it. The seeds themselves don't have any self-nature. Then how can we plant good seeds and bad seeds? That's where you have to go. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for studying. We just caught up. We're now back on schedule. Yay. Thank you all very much for joining. I really appreciate it. Thanks for translators. Thanks for the tech people. Thanks for the interpreters and everything you do to make this accessible. All right. Say goodbye to each other, and we'll be back in a little bit with some more Jason Kappa and Pabonka Rinpoche.
Thank you. Terima
Thank you. Please stay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dankeschön.
Gracias, Maestro T. Please stay.
Who's Jason?
Thank you, teacher team.
We love you.
Благодарю.